Laura from New Zealand. I've recently moved to New Zealand and I wanted to do this report today because I've just spoken to family and friends back in the UK, and also obviously being completely aware of the situation with regards to the coronavirus. I just wanted to kind of share some tips and tools that may be really useful at this time. Humanity is going through massive changes, as we know. We're always changing, whether we're consciously recognizing the changes or otherwise. But it's really helpful if we can energetically use some of the tools that they're kind of inbred in us. We're born with them. Innate abilities, intuition, gut feelings, all of that sort of stuff. That is who we are. We don't always acknowledge it, but it's who we are. And at this time, these things can be really, really useful as we navigate our way through the flow, the changes that are happening, not just in the world, but within ourselves. You yourselves know that you've been on a transformational journey in some way, however you want to describe that, whether it's more of a practical changing of situations, or just you're aware that you're constantly evolving in some way, even if it's not sure what the changes are and what is actually happening. So I just wanted to shed a little bit of light first of all on what is happening, and energetically this is a kind of, the way to describe it would be, we've gone on an inner journey and now it's time for the outer to present itself. So what's happening at the moment is the physical cleansing or clearing or releasing, or whatever you want to call it, where everything that has been is no longer. Now, as humanity, as a people, we fear change. We want it, we embrace it in some occasions. If it's looking good, if we think it's going to bring us what we want, then we're happy to change. But if it's uncomfortable, if it's painful, we want to avoid it. We don't want change. We live in fear most of the time. The anxiety, stress, the modern day humanness that we've created, that's what many people thrive on. But the inner calling that you've been having is more about letting go of that, letting go of fear, and letting go of the past, and letting go of karma or blockages or patterning or conditioning or energy distortions, whatever you want to call it. And what we're coming to realize and understand more of is about who we are from a different perspective. But as I said, those changes can be really, really uncomfortable as we navigate and discover more about who we are. We hang on to that stuff unless it makes common logical sense. We're not always able to relate it in a logical, conscious way. But that's, it's just one part of us, and it's not something that we need to really focus on one way or the other. We just need to be able to be aware of those changes, whatever they are presenting themselves to be. And right now they're presenting themselves as physical manifestations, global, economic, financial, social changes. It's happening whether we wish to be part of it or not. So some of you will be feeling fear and panic and anxiety and stress and pain and all the things that I've already mentioned. There's a really good way to be able to deal with these, and it's just to stop and say, okay, something is happening here. I don't know what it is, I don't really like it, it doesn't make me feel good, but I know something is happening. So first of all, acknowledging that there are changes that perhaps are beyond your scope of knowing how to deal with them. But nevertheless, as I said, they're happening. So just acknowledgement of where you're at, whether you're in pain, whether you're in fear, whether you're stressed by what is happening at the moment. Just remember to stop and just acknowledge where you're at. Once you do that, once you pause for a moment, you can begin to slow down. That's the first thing. Stop getting caught up in what is happening out there. It's easy to be sucked in with energy. It's a bit like, if you're letting water out of a bath and the plug hole, the momentum starts going, and then it gets really fast and goes round and round, and you can't stop it. It's really difficult. You know, you can put that plug in if there's a really good suction, but it takes a lot of effort. So, you know, just slow down, stop, get caught up in the trap. And this is what we do. We listen to others, we watch the news, and then we say, or some of us don't, and some of us say, well, okay, you know, it's happening, and, you know, I acknowledge it, but, you know, it's not happening to me. But the reality is that it is on some level, because we are all evolving. Each and every one of us are involved in this process, whether, as I said, consciously we recognize it or not. So just taking a step back, acknowledging what is going on, but not getting caught up in it. That's the key here, is not to be drawn into it, is not to start letting fear overtake, you know, your thoughts, your mind, and you know, the panic that then can set in. Because yes, these things are real, if that's what you want to call it, because reality, what we see, what we create, is real to us. It's not necessarily real to anyone else, but it's certainly real to us. Oh, I just got, that was real. I got attacked by something then. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. There's that fear. As soon, I mean, literally, it is instant manifestation. Oh, we got visitors joining us as well now. We're attracting more. So it's like that, you know, we attract what we give out. And just then we're talking about fear. That was a classic example of what is actually happening. And in our realities, when we talk about reality, what's happening here and now. So yes, we can prove it time and time again, can't we? That you know, nip there was like reminding me that, you know, I'm human, that I'm real. So yeah, we do experience pain, but how do we deal with it in a way that it doesn't overcome us, it doesn't overtake us, and then we get swamped up by it all entirely and completely. So one of the first things is, once you've acknowledged where you're at, and, you know, really notice what it is that you're sensing or feeling or seeing, or whatever it is that's going on around you, you can then begin to start to say, okay, this is where I'm at. I've acknowledged it, this is where I'm at. Okay, now how do I feel about where I'm at? So let's just take a scenario of fear, because there's a lot of fear with this coronavirus at the moment. It's a pandemic, it's an epidemic, it's spreading. It isn't going to stop until it does. So in the meantime, it's like, how do I feel about it? Notice how you feel about it. If it's bringing up fear, then acknowledge it. And what I like to do is I kind of put my hand on my chest here with my heart center, and I close my eyes and I actually acknowledge what I'm feeling. So how do I feel about that? And it could be whatever emotion it is, but you really want to name it. You want to stay out of the head. The head is just the creative tool that, you know, can give you all the examples that you want. So it's best to stay here in your heart center and notice what you feel. So as you feel fear, most of us want to run from it. We do great techniques in avoidance, denial, blame, you know, it's that suppression. All the things that we do, we distract ourselves. We're really, really good at that. So it's like, not now. Stay with it. Stay with that feeling that you got. Is it fear? Maybe it is. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's anger. Maybe, you know, you've read something or heard something and it says, you know, it's done by somebody else. You know, that's the projection. That's the blame. Well, whether it is or it isn't, really what I'm saying is that's not actually really important. The details are not important. It's how you feel about it that's really important. So acknowledging how you feel, naming the emotion, going with it, going inside. So what I like to do is say, just let go, surrender into what you're feeling. And as you do, as you kind of maybe want to close your eyes and just take this step back and notice what you notice about how you feel about what's happening, what it's brought up, what this issue, this problem, or whatever. It can be applied to anything, but at the moment, as I said, there's a lot going on. So it's like being able to discover what that is that's going on and then surrender to it. I call kind of falling into it. Fall into this fear and allow it to just be. You're not trying to change it. You're not denying it. You're not pushing it away. You're not avoiding it. You're just fully experiencing it. And when you do, what happens is it dissipates. Something changes. You don't feel the way that you did before about it. So suddenly you maybe feel a bit more lighter, or you could feel that, okay, I've got that right now, this is okay. And that's exactly what you're trying to achieve. You're just trying to achieve that it's okay right now, being present, being in this moment, stopping, remembering to just acknowledge what's happening. And with that, you'll find that you're attracting energetically something else. You're not being pulled into the plug hole of fear, but what's happening is you're raising your vibration immediately because you're just acknowledging it. You're not buying into it, you're just being with it. It just changes. It's kind of a little bit magical, actually, a little bit special that we have this ability to be able to do this. And all we've got to do is remember to do it. And that's what I'm reminding you today, because there isn't anything that I won't ever tell you that you don't already know. I'm just reminding you. So I'm reminding you right now to stop, acknowledge what's happening, notice it, feel it, surrender to it, and just let it be. And then, now what? Now there's something biting me, but it didn't hurt because I'm not in a state of fear. So it actually rephrase that. It wasn't biting me, it was just with me. So that's the difference. And boy, what an amazing example. Well, I'm Jessica Woods. It's been a pleasure to share this with you, and I really hope that this will help you at this really critical time that we're experiencing right now, to stay calm, to trust yourself. You're gonna be okay. You are okay.